Without the revolutionary theory, there could be no revolutionary movement.
Vladimir Lenin, 1902.
In the 19th century, Russia was severely impoverished. Alexander II was the Russian Tsar.
He was a villain. He would waste the country's resources and reform all religions. Then there was his grandson named Tsar Nicholas. Tsar Nicholas was an up-and-coming Russian Tsar who was neglected by his father.
Suddenly, a group of peasants decided to bomb the Tsar because he was a bad ruler.
Alexander then shortly died.
Alexander III came into the throne, but he was not a very good Tsar.
Alexander III decided that he wanted to repress all other minorities that were not Russian, and he would hang people who didn't like him.
III died of kidney inflammation.
Nicholas then came into power, but he had no idea how to properly run a country, so he was kinda terrible at his job.
Nicholas was not looking good right from the start. He offered people free food and drinks, which caused about 1,000 people to be trampled in the following stampede.
Moving on, there was this guy named Vladimir Lenin, and he read this book by Karl Marx named The Communist Manifesto.
The manifesto is basically about how capitalism is bad and the middle class should rise up and make a communist paradise.
Tried to spread the word about the idea of a communist state, but the Tsarist Russian government didn't really like what Lenin was doing, so they banished him to Siberia.
Lenin then established a group called the Bolsheviks that could help him carry out his plans to spread communism.
Vladimir Lenin's goal was to make the first socialist state.
Something that Lenin would do is he would write newsletters and send them to St. Petersburg to spread the word about communism.
Vladimir waited for this, and he would patiently wait for a revolution, which will come soon.
Moving on, at that time in St. Petersburg, this government guy named Sergei White realized that Russia needed to get on par with the rest of Europe.
Sergei was trying to convince Nicholas that Russia needed to industrialize.
He was right. Russia desperately needed to industrialize.
Sergei started in pursuit of his goal by making factories, and that comes with factory workers, leading to the working class having to work longer and harder, while with terrible working conditions.
So the working class started to get very angry.
To save his image, Nicholas chose to go to war with the Japanese, starting the Russo-Japanese War.
Russia then somehow immediately lost because Nicholas underestimated the country and did not expect them to have a superior army.
Russia lost, and Nicholas lost even more respect from the Russians. So you had some very angry factory workers, angry citizens, and angry liberals, which was not very good for Nicholas. Russia was on the brink of revolution.
This is exactly what Lenin was waiting for. Meanwhile, in St. Petersburg, there's this priest named Father Capon. Father Capon was just trying to do a peaceful protest for better working conditions.
But instead of letting Nicholas see the protest, the commanding officer decided to fire upon the innocent people. This was the last straw for the Russians. All of the peasants, factory workers, and liberals went on strike.
So the revolution of 1905 had begun!
Then some of the military started to commit mutiny.
It seemed like this was the end for Nicholas.
While this was happening, a guy named Leon Trotsky made a council called the Soviets, which would organize the peasants' strikes.
To calm things down to the liberals, Sergei made a manifesto that satisfied the liberals, which made Nicholas's problem slightly better.
Nicholas sent the soldiers from the Russo-Japanese War to stop the Soviets and stop the peasant strikes.
It seemed like Nicholas had survived the revolution.
After 1905, a new guy named Peter Stolypin replaced Sergei and wanted to stop any revolutions from happening.
To execute his plans, he decided to be more strict on the non-Nicholas people. This was bad news for Lenin because the people weren't mad, so no revolution.
So Lenin decided to team up with Joseph Stalin to make some money for the Bolsheviks by stealing.
Doing all of this crime led to Stalin being exiled to Siberia.
Just as things started to look up, Nicholas brought in a peasant guy named Rasputin.
Nicholas let Rasputin into the castle because he was an alleged doctor.
Rasputin healed Nicholas's son from hemophilia.
So Rasputin and Nicholas came close with each other.
This gained the attention of the Russian public.
As a czar, having a peasant friend is not very good for your image as the ruler of Russia.
While Nicholas was goofing around with his newfound friend in 1914, the Archduke of Hungary was assassinated, which led to Russia having a war with half of Europe.
Which led to Russian citizens becoming extremely patriotic, including the revolutionaries, except for Lenin.
Russia began to lose some land.
The economy became very bad and Russia was running out of supplies. Nicholas decided to take charge and command the army.
When Nicholas left to command the army, he let Rasputin and his wife in charge of the country. This was not a very good look for Nicholas.
Russian citizens started to get angry because of Nicholas's decision. Rasputin died, and his cause of death is unknown.
After World War I, Russia was extremely poor and running out of supplies.
It seemed as if Russia was on the brink of revolution again.
Meanwhile, in Petrograd, over 1,000 hungry men and women started to protest for food.
The next day, the protest had accumulated more than 250,000 people who wanted to stop the war.
Then soldiers started to mutiny and join the protest.
And all heck broke loose. The Soviet Petrograd was established again.
Nicholas practically lost all control of Russia.
When Nicholas arrived in Petrograd, the politicians told him to abdicate, which they believed would calm things down.
So he did, and things eventually died down.
The throne was now left empty.
Alexei, Nicholas's son, was not ready to be the Tsar.
So the rule of Russia stopped.
Lenin took a train to Petrograd to seize the throne.
Things in Russia were still not looking good.
With the rule of the Tsar, there was a debate over who should become the next rulers.
Between the Soviets or the liberals.
They settled on the liberals controlling the official government.
The Soviets controlling the citizens.
When Lenin came back to Russia, he did not like the liberals or the Soviets at all. Lenin tried to get some people on his side by promising land, peace, and bread. Lenin also wanted to get rid of the liberals and just wanted the Soviets to be in charge.
Lenin's plan worked. The liberals were in great calamity.
And the Soviets gained a lot of supporters.
The liberals didn't do much to feed the citizens, so they rioted.
To stop the revolution, the liberals put General Kornilov in charge.
Putting General Kornilov in charge was a great mistake for the liberals.
General Kornilov took charge, and he wanted to stop the Soviets, so he decided to storm Petrograd with his army.
But with the help of Leon Trotsky and the other Soviets, they fended off the attackers.
With the defeat of the army, the Bolsheviks gained a lot of popularity.
This led to the Bolsheviks getting elected to the Petrograd for Soviets.
The Bolsheviks gained a lot of power after this happened.
So Lenin came to Petrograd to take over the government.
Then the Bolsheviks started the armed revolution and took over Petrograd.
The Bolsheviks then stormed the Winter Palace,
which led to Lenin taking control of the government.
Lenin started to become slightly power hungry by shutting down all other government officials and only letting him be in charge.
Lenin later announced that he was going to make a police force that would execute traitors,
which later led to Lenin's assassination attempt.
After Lenin's recovery, Russia was still at war with Germany, and the Bolsheviks promised peace, so they stopped fighting with Germany.
But Germany did not stop fighting with them, so Germany took over a bunch of Russia's land. After this massive loss for Russia, people were very angry.
So a group of citizens decided to create a group of warriors to revolt against the Bolsheviks, the Red Army.
So a civil war broke out between the Red Army and the White Army.
The Red Army was much calmer, collected, and prepared, so they took over most of Russia.
Suddenly, Nicholas and his family were attacked and killed.
After a couple of years, the Red Army became victorious. Due to all of this stress, Lenin had multiple strokes.
The Bolsheviks decided to combine all political parties to make one ruler, the Soviet Union.
Lenin was in bad shape, and his health was declining, so there had to be a successor to Lenin.
In a turn of events, Stalin raised to power. It seemed like Stalin was going to be the next ruler.
Then Stalin became the ruler of the Soviets.
That was basically the Russian Revolution.
The Russian Revolution was an event that went on to change the world.
The Russian Revolution was the creation of a way of life, of communism.
Its impact is still large, as countries such as China, North Korea, and Vietnam became communist countries.
But what is communism? Communism, in short, is a classless society proposed by Karl Marx, where everyone works according to their needs and property is not owned privately, but publicly.
Lenin, Trotsky, and Stalin worked hard to raise the publicity of communism, amazed by Marx's works. Alright, time for some fun facts about the Russian Revolution.
Number 1. There were 2 revolutions.
The dates of the revolutions are messed up. The revolutions occurred in March and November, but they're called the October and February revolutions.
Number 2. Peter hanged people who didn't follow Nicholas so much that he got the noose a special nickname after him, called Stolypin's necktie.